Hey guys, it's John, Gay Over 50. Welcome back. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you've watched our videos or if you've subscribed and are back again, thank you for coming back. We always need subscribers and people to follow us and to build this community up. But today I just want to explain the past, because today's video is about living two lives. And I know that better than anybody because I didn't come out until my 40s, and I was married, as you guys know from my previous videos, I was married for 19 years to my wife and had 2 kids. So I knew about 8th grade that I was different, and that I was actually attracted to the same sex. But back in the 70s, it was unheard of. It just wasn't common as it is, or even it was frowned upon to be gay. You know, you were totally different. Now it's almost like you're welcome to come out. It's a complete different lifestyle today. It's easier to come out, I think, to a point. It's not easy to come out, but I think it's way more accepted than it was ever back in this, when I grew up in the 70s. So living two lives was very difficult for me, for the fact that, you know, I got married because I thought it would straighten me out. You know, I thought, if I got married, had kids, the gay feelings would go away, and I could live my life, if you want to say normal, as a normal person, or a straight person. But that didn't work. It just, as the years went by, it just got worse and worse and worse. And then, like I said, eventually in my 40s, I decided to come out because I didn't want to get to I don't want to be 80 years old and like, oh my God, I wasted 90% of my life, you know. So it was a big decision to come out later in life, you know, but it was well worth it. But anyways, back to the task at hand. Like I said, I was very in the closet. I didn't tell anybody. And it was difficult because I knew how I felt, but you couldn't share or do anything about it. You know, you couldn't, you know, when I got married, I couldn't go to, not that I was ever a clubber anyways, but you could never go to a gay club or have friends or like that, because then, you know, at that point or that time in my life, my wife would be like, what are you doing? You know, and I didn't tell her until, let me think back. I think it was 2000. Let me think. I got divorced in 13. It was probably 2008. I think I told my wife that I was gay. And if you guys watch my previous videos, you know, I went to therapy and she sent me to a couple of therapists. But it was just a difficult time. And it was literally all that, you know, 19 years of hiding, and longer than that, because I knew, like I said, in 8th, 9th grade that I was gay, but you could never jump on it or live on that. And especially for 2 reasons. One, I got married to my wife and I had kids. And I was afraid of losing all that. And 2, my parents were very, what's the word I'm looking for? Standard or conventional parents. I don't know what they would have ever said. My mom died when I was a little kid, but my dad was, I don't, you know, he was very old school, and I don't know how he would have taken that. And that was another reason why I didn't come out. And then none of my friends were gay, at least that I know of. But I know now that I've come out, and I've kept 90% of my relatives and friends. A couple have come out, maybe 1 or 2, but nothing like I would have ever thought. But anyways, it was a difficult time, and it was difficult for the fact that, you know, you have this feeling that you're suppressing, that you can't react on or engage in, and then it really put a damper on my life, like, because you couldn't be who you were. So I was literally living 2 lives. I was straight John, and then on the back of my head, it was gay John. You know, whether you see a cute guy on the street or you know, something in a magazine or something, because like, this was way before internet. But if you know, my ex-wife used to get Modern Woman or something, and it would always be like a swimsuit edition in there of guys in swimsuits, and I was like, oh, well, they're cute, but you could never say that, because you're like, what? And but yeah, it was a difficult time in my life, and then when I finally decided to come out, um, it was I was afraid, scared of that I would possibly lose my job, I'd lose my friends, I'd lose family, but the fear of not living my true life was way more important and way stronger than it was to be afraid anymore. And I look back and still say, what if I would have came out when I was 18 or 17 and not hid? But then I wouldn't have my kids, who I love dearly, and I definitely would have met Miles, because you'd been in a different life. So I think God, and if you want to throw God in here too, I think God or destiny put me on this path to do it when I did, because I met Miles. We got married a couple of years later, and it's been perfect. So, but like I said, the living the two lives was horrendous. It was definitely a stress on my mind and on my body, I would say. Like I said, I went to therapy. My ex-wife sent me to 5 different therapists, and it helped for the most part, somewhat. Some of it didn't, but at least I got to talk to somebody and tell my feelings of how I felt. But like the first half of my life, I was angry. I was always mad, angry, short temper, but because you're hiding something, and that was the fact that I was hiding who I was. I couldn't be myself, and living the two lives was definitely a stressor. So you couldn't be yourself. So mental and mental health wise, it's not healthy. So I feel bad for people who are still in the closet, but I get it. I totally get it, and I'm glad I made the move to what I did, and I'm a totally different person today. I don't think I don't get angry nearly as enough as I used to be, and I'm more relaxed and more open and way happier, especially with Miles, because Miles makes my life amazingly easy. And if I didn't have him in my team on my side, I don't know where I would be. But I get it why some people, and ever since I've been out, I watch a lot of coming out videos. I've look at a lot about people coming out stories. It's really an interesting um, um, issue for me. I like to view them because it's empowering for me, and it makes me feel like these people did it. I can do it. But I do also get it why some people in our community who commit suicide, and that's sad. And I'll touch that on a different video. But I get it. You hide that long, and some people don't have the will to come out, and it's crushing on them. Because I guarantee you how I felt, and it was a crushing first half of my life. Did I say I wasted my first half of my life? No, for the fact that where I'm at now is completely different, and I'm glad it worked out for me in my story, that I came out when I did, and I met Miles, and my life's been good. But for many others, and maybe you have a story too, um, maybe you are going through the same thing, and you don't know a way out, or what's going to happen. But all I can say is that it will get better, um, and things will change. And like I said, I did it late in life. Um, but if I wouldn't have done it, I'm 55. If I would have still hidden the closet and didn't get divorced, well, I just lost. I would have lost 14 years with Miles, and 14 years doesn't seem like a lot, but it is a lot. It's huge. It's a quarter of your life probably, and it made a difference. But for people who don't come out, especially if you're watching this video and you are in the same predicament where you're married, at least tell your wife. I mean, or your spouse, because it's not healthy for either of you. It's definitely not something that is. I mean, I didn't expect it to put my ex-wife through this, and it wasn't fair to her. When I got married, you're married for life, and but it's not fair to her. It's definitely not fair to you. And some people are like, "Oh, you're being selfish," but it's not. I mean, you should be happy. But some of us, like I said, didn't have that chance to come out when we were 18 and be ourselves. And now you might be in the same predicament where you're 55, 65, 75, whatever, and you seem like you're stuck. But living the two lives, especially if you're a younger person watching this, if you're gonna live two lives, it's not healthy. It's not, and I can attest to that because it probably aged me 20 years, But definitely look deep inside and I guess make the journey and after you do it on your own time, it's your life to come out. It's your decision of when, how, why. But that's the video for today. Just my take on it of living two lives, but it was unhealthy, especially I didn't have to sneak around because I wasn't active in the gay lifestyle then, but you're still living two lives, and in my mind I was gay. In my upfront outside exterior body you're straight, and it's a mind battle. Inside you're gay, outside you're Johnny Mr. Straight. So it was a difficult struggle, and I'm glad I finally came out, but I wish I would have done it earlier, I think, just because the mind battle that plays on your mind and your body and your health, it's not healthy. And I hope this helps. Maybe you think this video is dumb, but that's why I made this channel. It's just to come out with my own story and give my perspective on it. So I appreciate you guys watching, and always just love yourself, love the people around you, and hopefully this video helps. But thank you for watching, and we'll have another video next week, and I appreciate it. Thank you.